Mummies have been discovered all across the Egyptian desert, and it leads to great insight on their civilization. Advancements in technology have allowed us for more and more tombs to be uncovered, also allowing for us to solve some mysteries. As more and more tombs began to get robbed, more creative ideas of hiding unbelievable treasures of pharaohs were created. From the possible tomb of one of Egypt's strangest kings to massive sarcophagi that were found untouched at burial sites, here are the greatest Egyptian tomb discoveries. But first, quick shout out goes to Brooklyn Shields for leaving us this comment on the Places Locals Don't Want You to Go video. We want to know what your favorite Thai food was, and we appreciate your answer. If you're tuned in here for the first time, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's get on to the video. Number 12. Valley of Golden Mummies. Discovering a place like the Valley of Golden Mummies sounds like something that might have happened during an Indiana Jones adventure. But it really happened in 1996 by the Egyptologist Zahi Hawass at the Bahariya Oasis. Him and his team found roughly 105 mummies that were around 2,000 years old or so that were all well preserved. This would have meant that it dated back to the Greco-Roman period. Typically, the face was at least covered in gold, and waistcoats would depict scenes of ancient gods and goddesses across the chest. There were remains of about 250 mummies, but decayed beyond the point where it wasn't really a valuable artifact. It's believed that as many as 10,000 mummies were once placed in this valley, so there could be a lot more excavations coming for the near future. Number 11. Secret Mummy Cave. Also known as the Royal Cache or the Theban Necropolis, this site located near Deir el-Bahari contained many unopened tombs that are very few and far between. It was here where the mummy of the high priest Pinugem II and his wife Nexhans and other family members of the high priest were buried. He lost his life sometime around 969 BC during a decline in the Egyptian kingdom and was discovered here in 1881. This gives us an idea in relation to the mortuary temple exactly where it was found. The royal mummy cache of this necropolis houses more than 50 kings and queens during the New Kingdom. It's believed that the secret mummy cave would be inspected often by members of the royal family to ensure that the area was still safe from tomb robbers. It looks like this couple managed to hide out for quite a while. Number 10. Amenhotep's tomb. American archaeologists were able to come across two stunning ancient Egyptian tombs rather recently in 2015. Believed to be the old tombs of Amenhotep and his wife Samud, this is a big find for Egyptology. These were found in the ancient city of Luxor in the southeastern part of Egypt. Not to be confused with the Luxor of Las Vegas, Nevada. This dates back to the 18th dynasty, which is the most well-known dynasty during Egyptians' thriving New Kingdom. This empire stretched from northern Sudan all the way to Israel. Here in this photo, you see some of the wonderful murals that ancient Egyptian tombs are celebrated for. Both tombs featured wonderful works of art, however it was clear that it was ransacked and looted at some time. Some lucky criminal was able to snag the valuable sarcophagi located at these tombs and also bejeweled mummies completely gone. It's most likely it was robbed during ancient times too. Despite the looting, the tomb remains in excellent condition. Number 9. The Town of Tomb Builders. So who was responsible for building some of these amazing tombs? Contrary to popular belief, the workers of this town were certainly no slaves. Highly skilled artisans, tunnel diggers, scribes, and morticians worked together diligently so the pharaohs could pass on to the next life. An ancient Egyptian village was constructed during the reign of Thutmose I, sometime around 1506 BC to 1493 BC. The Valley of the Kings was located to the north, and funerary temples can be found to the east and southeast of the village. Like some Soviet and American cities that were used to house workers for nuclear missiles, this town had to be kept a secret. It was built in a valley in the middle of the desert to the west of the Nile. The site was first thoroughly excavated in 1905 to 1909 when large amounts of broken pottery were discovered. Over 68 homes were uncovered and some strange artifacts such as this wood and leather prosthetic toe, which was used by one of the citizens. As the town plunged into chaos, a lot of former tomb builders became tomb robbers since they all knew how to plunder them. Number 8. The Tomb of Yuya. Yuya was a powerful courtier during the 18th dynasty of Egypt around the 1300s BC. His daughter Tai became a royal wife of Amenhotep III, and his son became a chancellor of Lower Egypt and the second prophet of Amun. Yuya would have worked as a key advisor for Amenhotep III or his son-in-law up until his demise in his mid-50s. He was discovered with his wife Tuyu at the same tomb in 1905 by James Quimbel. What was kind of strange about this discovery was that the tomb was previously breached by tomb robbers, but they didn't take the mummies or much of the funerary goods. It's likely that some things are easier to steal than others, which is why much of it was left intact. Number 7. 1 million mummy discovery. After conducting a large series of excavations by BYU University in Utah near the city of Fayum, there was an estimated total of 1 million mummies that were buried. Most of the people buried here date back to Roman and Byzantine times in the 7th century AD and were relatively poor. Since mummification was a rather expensive process, many bodies were not well preserved. Many internal organs were not removed, which often increases the speed of decay, meaning that they were not properly embalmed. Scientists uncovered more than 1,700 mummies in 2014, but there's no updates about how many since then. The best mummies were wrapped in linen or reed, and the dry climate helped preserve them. But this is still rather crude to mummies from ancient Egyptian standards. Number 6. The Tomb of Ka, TT8. Considered to be one of the greatest ancient Egyptian tomb discoveries, this tomb was discovered in the Theban necropolis. It's believed to be one of the overseers of the construction of Deir el-Medina named Ka and his wife named Merit. Although they weren't royalty, they certainly had a very carefully planned out burial. Here we see the inner gilded anthropoid coffin of Ka, which was respectively intact. It was covered in gold leaf and quartz for the eyes. Black obsidian was used for the eyes and cosmetic display. Number 5. Ramses IV tomb. Although much of it was vandalized before the discovery, the tomb of Ramses IV is extremely important to scholars and historians. It was decorated with scenes from the Book of the Dead, the Litany of Ra, the Book of Heavens, and so on. He was the 5th son of Ramses III and one of the grandsons of Ramses the Great. Named as the royal prince of Egypt at the age of 22, he wouldn't get the chance to become pharaoh until later on in life. And then once he did become pharaoh, he only ruled for about a period of 6 years. At the time he became ruler, Egypt was beginning to decline a little bit from his grandfather's powerful empire. He managed to hold on to the lands of Palestine to the north and the copper mines of the Sinai Peninsula. Number 4. Seti I. The pharaoh Seti I was a son of Ramses I and father of Ramses II. This makes him a pretty important mummy. It's believed that he ruled the land of Egypt sometime around 1294 BC to 1279 BC. His name Seti would indicate some devotion to the evil brother of Osiris in Egyptian mythology. Set is the god of all things evil. This includes things such as storms, chaos, violence, invading armies, and the desert. Seti profited from various military campaigns in places like Western Asia, Libya, and Nubia, and constructed a great temple in the city of Abydos where some mysterious hieroglyphics were discovered. Seti's preserved tomb was discovered in 1817 in the Valley of the Kings and was the deepest of all New Kingdom tombs. His massive sarcophagus was all carved from one piece of stone and it was intricately decorated with various artwork. Due to the condition of the mummy, it appears as though he was no less than 40 years old when he passed away. It appears as though grave robbers had made it to the tomb first, however, but certainly couldn't transport the massive sarcophagus. The cause for it remains unknown with no evidence of violence, but it's believed that his head was actually removed from his coffin post-mortem. The cause for his demise still remains unknown with no evidence of violence, although it's believed that his head was removed from his body post-mortem. King Tut's tomb. We all know about King Tut's discovery, but do you even know how much gold that guy was trying to bring with him to the afterlife? About 240 pounds of solid gold was the weight of the sarcophagus alone. Don't forget about his 24-pound funerary mask of solid gold, which would be worth $4.5 million by today's gold prices. If it somehow ended up on the black market, it could easily go for billions in some kind of crazy auction. In 1923, they felt as though the price of the entire treasure was worth about $15 million at that current time. Anyone else trying to think about coming after the riches might not get to enjoy the treasure because there seems to be some kind of curse. Number 2. Queen Hatshepsut's Temple. Built by a woman named Queen Hatshepsut, she revolutionized architecture in Egypt by constructing this unbelievable funerary temple. She's the second confirmed female pharaoh that came into power since her father Thutmose I was unable to bear a son. She often portrayed herself as a man and wore the ceremonial beard. Located in Deir el-Bahri, this temple complex is an example of perfect symmetry and was completed in the 15th century BC. For reasons still unclear to this day, her son Thutmose III ordered that his men try to erase any history written about his mother. This included scratching out her name from monuments and even destroying many statues that sat at this remarkable temple. Here in this photo, we see what used to be her image receiving a blessing from the god Amun-Re. That was before it got completely carved out. Why he didn't just go the next step and just completely destroy the entire monument is still somewhat of a mystery. Unstable politics in Egypt as well as foreign invading armies who've occupied this country make it a wonder that this place still exists. Number 1. KV-55, Akhenaten. The royal tomb of Akhenaten was where this mysterious king was first laid to rest. It's believed that his body, though, was relocated to the Valley of the Kings. It's unclear exactly whether or not this is his skull, but it was found in KV-55. DNA tests in 2010 were done, which showed that it was indeed the father of King Tut and the son of Amenhotep III. Artwork of him is very odd, as you can see in this photo, with big eyes, elongated head, and mysteriously long fingers. The coffin was found to be desecrated, with a gold leaf of his face ripped off, possibly to hide some secrets. He certainly seemed to abandon the traditional portrayals of pharaohs. The monotheistic religion he imposed was to worship the god Aten, and this name literally translates to the sun disk.